Welcome to the Living Artist Podcast. I'm your host, Preston M. Smith. Hey everybody, welcome to the Living Artist Podcast. I'm Preston M. Smith, at PMS Artwork everywhere on internet land and socials. I want to thank you for landing on this podcast. Whether you're a professional artist, just getting started in the art world, a collector of art, or just consider yourself a creative person, this podcast has something for you. I like to think of it as a fun way to rant and talk to other creative people about living the life of an artist, surviving and getting ahead in the art world, and enjoying your life. But most importantly, not waiting until you're dead to make it happen. All right, let's get started. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's also creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
In a world completely out of toilet paper, where people binge watch an entire season of the Great British Bake Off in one day, one man strives to make sense out of this crazy world. That man is PMS Artwork.
Welcome back to the big show, everybody. Well, the show at least. I always find that so funny in the voiceovers for these shows and movies. Mainly shows, they're always talking about the one show.
On a special Gilmore Girls.
And then they finish up and they go,
Then.
And they get to the darker episode.
Then.
The virus, which will not be named, as I like to call it these days, to take some power away from it, of course, is unfortunately still ravaging the globe. It is demolishing businesses and hope alike. It's killing thousands of people and leaving most of the population suffering from severe depression, fear, and human contact withdrawal. Artists, of course, are no exception. We're all feeling it. On top of everything else, I've been experiencing a massive dry period on art sales. This morning, though, I broke the streak when I received an email that I had sold a painting to a collector in France on Singular. Boom! I was super excited. But I soon discovered that the collector wanted to use a framing service, and since all the framers that this art marketplace uses are closed temporarily due to the virus which will not be named, and all of my local framers and art supply stores are also closed, we might have to put the painting on reserve, which increases the possibility of the collector changing their mind on the purchase. So at first I was up, and then shit. Uncertainty again. I want to say that I obviously am grateful to have this opportunity right now, and overjoyed to be probably selling another painting in the eye of the storm. But this just got me thinking about a short topic that I wanted to speak about today. Something that I try to remind myself about on a day-to-day basis. It's something that applies to artists, of course, but also to human beings in general, in any moment in time. And this topic is what I like to call circumstantial happiness. In a nutshell, what I mean by circumstantial happiness is that when circumstances are good, we're happy. On the flip side, when circumstances are bad, or even unfavorable, we are unhappy or discontent. This is a really damaging way to live, and it seems to be programmed into our DNA. Not only does it affect us when we are experiencing these circumstances, but also in the anticipation of achieving these circumstances. This gets me all the time. I have some lofty goal that I want to achieve, and I tell myself, okay, I will be happy once I get this blank that I want or I'm striving for. Since I don't have it in the moment, I'm not experiencing the level of happiness or contentment that I desire. But how many of you have experienced getting that thing that you wanted so badly, only to find that you are still unfulfilled ultimately? Sure, you experience some momentary happiness, but when the glimmer of your shiny new achievement begins to fade, so does your peace of mind. Then most times, you find yourself feeling lower than before. What a joke. I'm sure we've all witnessed a superachiever in our lives who is miserable, or heard of the lottery winner whose millions didn't bring them any closer to joy than their shit job had before. I'm not saying these things can't add to one's happiness. I'm just saying that they're secondary. If you can't find a way to be happy or content now, no thing or material possession will fill that void for you. Thankfully, I'm starting to get it. It took me a couple of decades, a few vats of booze, and some blood, sweat, and tears to internalize it. But hey, I got there. Some people never do. So why am I bringing this up right now? Because it's an ongoing struggle that we all deal with, that I believe is even more heightened or exacerbated in these trying pandemic-ridden times. Yes, even the virus which will not be named, and all of its collateral damage, are to an extent just circumstances. Does it objectively fucking suck and hurt millions of people? Yes, of course it does, and is. But your reaction to it is still in your control. Your reaction to your isolation is in your control. You can turn off the news for a moment and catch up on some tasks you've been putting off since forever. You can finally start that side hustle, read War and Peace, catch up on some board games with your kids, or even listen to the Living Artist podcast. I hear it's really good, guys. You have control of your mindset as well as your optimism. I have personally used it as a time to be more goofy, work on the podcast, and enjoy some time with my wife, as well as turning some angst into creativity. I cathartically vomit out all of these emotions over a canvas with some vibrant colors, energy, with my music blaring, and before I know it, I'm feeling pretty damn good again. If you're an artist, use this time to do the same. Document your struggles and emotions in your art. We are so lucky to have this outlet. If you're really struggling and can't even find or afford materials, which is many of us, build something out of the materials you already have, or get your thoughts down in a journal or blog. Get creative and take control of your circumstances. But this also applies in normal times, which, believe it or not, we will get back to. Don't let the lack of something control your thoughts and emotions. Don't wait to achieve something in order to find happiness. I promise that if you do, it won't be there even if you get what you wanted or thought that that's what you wanted. Ironically, you probably won't even get there until you find the happiness and contentment within you first. This is the way to start the momentum towards achieving your goals, but also to enjoy not only the eventual achievement of them, but the process as well. Don't know how to shut up your negative mind and self-talk? That's all right. Just find a way to hack it. If I find that I'm sinking into this negative mind spiral, I force myself to put on some upbeat music, a funny podcast, or jump up and start moving. This interrupts my negative pattern and replaces it with something positive and energetic. Don't know how to observe when your mind is taking you to or even trapping you in a negative place? That's where meditation comes into play. This will train you to start observing your counterproductive thoughts so that you can begin to take charge of them. Check out some meditation apps like Headspace or Calm if you don't know how to get started. I like to put on some music, do some deep breathing, and visualize exactly what I want to achieve as detailed or emotionally charged as possible. Not only does this trick my brain into feeling better, but it shows me that all these things are actually possible. If I can see them, I can achieve them. Suddenly you'll be feeling better now, which will open up the possibility of what you can strive to do and feel in the future. It all works, but find what works best for you. The one thing I know is that neural pathways in your brain will start to change and you will begin to feel better more frequently. Don't let circumstances dictate your life. That's bullshit. This is your one life, so live it the way you want to live it. I have a PhD in unhappiness and depression, so take it from me when I say that this alternative is much better. I hope you all are coping well with your individual situations out there. You're all definitely on my mind, and we're in this together, even if we're miles apart. Let's build some positive momentum and change our collective consciousness into a state of hope and positive energy. We will be through this before you know it. In the meantime, get busy creating and binge watch some damn TV shows and movies.
In a world where things are back to normal, I'll see you all there. Then comes the outro music.
This has been the Living Artist Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. I just want you to know that I appreciate you being here, and I'm grateful to be in your ears. Your art and creative life on this planet is meaningful, so thank you for sharing it with me. If you like this podcast, whatever platform you're listening to it on, please subscribe and share it with your friends. You can also leave me a positive review to show your support. This helps me to reach more people with the algorithmic magic and keep the show going strong. If you want to see more of what I do and check out the art that I create, you can visit my website at www.pmsartwork.com, or follow me on social media everywhere at PMS Artwork. That's it for now. See you back here next time.